Hi. How do you typically start a presentation? Most people do it by introducing themselves, telling their audience about where they work and what that entails, and giving a short overview of what they're going to talk about in the presentation. And this seems to be rooted in common sense and also in good manners, because when we meet people for the first time, we typically introduce ourselves, and it's also very practical to tell your audience what you're going to talk about in the next 30 or 40 minutes. But it's all wrong. Why? Because it violates certain principles which the brain follows when it receives information and processes information. Let me explain. Whenever we are in a situation that is new to us, whenever we meet somebody new, whenever we are at the beginning of an event, and the presentation is such an event, then we tend to pay more attention because we need to figure things out. We need to understand what is going on. This is called the novelty effect. The period for the novelty effect, so this initial period at the beginning of every presentation, is actually very short. Different researchers put it at 30 seconds, 1 minute, some people say it's 2 minutes, but even if it's 2 minutes, it's a very, very short window of opportunity. And it's a window of opportunity because the audience gives us their full attention, undivided attention, on a plate. And it's up to us whether we are going to grab it and use it in our favor and channel it towards the journey that we are going to take our audience with our presentation on, or if we are going to waste it. And this typical beginning of presentations is unfortunately wasting it. Why? Because people usually go to presentations by having looked at the program for that event, for that conference, and having chosen the presentation based on the speaker's background and what the speaker is going to talk about. In other words, the abstract. So what we're going to tell them in those initial few minutes is not really going to be very new to them. And again, research shows that when that window of opportunity closes, audience attention levels go down. So how to start a presentation in a brain-friendly way, in a way which is rooted in how the brain functions. In order to make use of the novelty effect, you should start by asking questions. That's one way. So for example, I started by saying, how do you typically start a presentation? And of course the question has to be related to what you're going to talk about. Another typical way to start is by, in a way, shocking the audience, sharing an unexpected and surprising fact, because that engages their mind. Just as the question engages their mind, because again, we know that questions engage the mind a lot more than statements. So if we give them a surprising fact, then they will be focused. What do you mean? Really? So if I started the presentation by saying, my personal research has shown that over 95% of presenters use slides in a way which distracts the audience from what they are saying, that the result is the audience actually not hearing full sentences of what the presenter is saying, that would be a way to surprise my audience and grab their attention at the beginning. Now, what should you do next? Next, you should tell them how the audience would benefit from listening to you in the next 30, 40 minutes or 1 hour. This is time that they will never ever get back in their lives. So give them the benefits that your presentation will give them. So, for example, the next sentence, the benefits could be, in the next 30 minutes, I will first make you feel why the way slides are used typically distract from the verbal message. And then I will show you how to overcome this problem. Then the third step should be credentials. So that's when you can talk about where you work, what you do. However, I would advise caution, because everybody loves to talk about the most important topic in the world, which is ourselves. Because what you have done by grabbing their attention with the questions or surprising fact, and of course there are other ways to do this as well, at the beginning, is you raise attention levels high. Then, of course, you did that by relating what you are talking about to the audience's reality and needs and perhaps problems. Then you told them how they're going to benefit from this. So you still kept attention levels high because they want to know what the solution then is. Now, if you talk about yourself too much, then that attention level is going to drop very significantly, very quickly. So keep it to the minimum. You may have a Nobel Prize in physics, but if you're talking about a cooking-related topic, then that is probably not that important. And finally, the last step should be the quick overview of what you are going to talk about. So it's not that you're not going to greet the audience, it's not that you're not going to introduce yourself, it's not that you're not going to tell them what they can expect in the next 30-40 minutes, but just do it at a later stage. Use how the brain functions and reacts to information, receives information and processes it in a presentation to your advantage to make your presentations better. So to sum it all up, I would say that you should use the ABCD model. So at the beginning, grab the attention, A, attention. Once you grab their attention, then give them the benefits, B, benefits of your talk. Then give them your credentials, C, credentials. And finally, give them the directions. In other words, the short overview, D, directions, the short overview of your presentation. I hope you find this helpful. Happy presenting.